experiment is a zero gravity fuel gauge. So what that means is your regular car fuel gauge doesn't work in space because there's no gravity, and that's how it relies on being able to tell how much fuel you have in the tank. So what our experiment does is it vibrates the tanks that we have, and the fluid sloshes around in zero gravity, so this is a way that'll work because we're just relying on the vibrations of the tank. So we tested it last year and it worked, so this year we're just trying to get more data, and it's very important because this will save lots of money on fuel propellant, because that's the biggest problem with the fuel technologies right now.
Today we're doing the TRR. That's where the NASA engineers scrutinize every bit of safety on our rig, and we have to pass in order to put our experiment on the plane, and so I think we'll do very well today.
Our experiment is looking to test the ability of modal analysis to accurately gauge fluid volume in a microgravity environment. The focus of our experiment is the two model propellant tanks we have inside our rig here, and between the two tanks they will contain just 1 gallon of water that can be transferred between the tanks during flight to simulate different fluid volumes. And as this is a significant amount of water, the entire fluid portion of the experiment is contained within the leak-proof secondary containment.
So the TRR went well. A little bit of relief. We resolved some tensions that we had this morning. The TRR in general can be stressful because this is, the last thing that we have to pass. Now that we've passed TRR, we are ready to fly. They've said that our rig is safe to go on the plane, which we were pretty sure it was, but the engineers just have to double check our math.
Working on the rig in zero gravity, especially for the first couple parabolas when I didn't really know what to expect, as I started floating away, I kept trying to reach for the button and I couldn't quite reach it. So we had a knee strap there, so I was using that mostly for my hands actually. I'd grab the strap and pull myself down so I could push the button and do the research. It was just so much fun, and it's so hard to describe even now I've had some time to think about it. Even though it was just yesterday, this whole thing is already sort of like a distant blur. The spinning in zero G, that was just strange. The drugs they gave us, it dulls your inner ear. There were times where I would have sworn I was upside down, but my eyes were very clearly telling me I wasn't. I was right side up. But my inner ear was telling me I was upside down, and it just felt weird having that conflict there, and it happened on a couple of the parabolas.
So there were two people who wanted to be spun at the same time. So I went first. So we went into zero gravity, picked me up, started spinning me, then shoved me off to one of the other people to have me keep spinning, so that then he could start spinning the second person. And it was just super fun.
When they would go into the parabola, I was laying on my back or sitting down, and you start to feel, you hear the engines turn off, so you know it's coming, and then all of a sudden you're not touching the floor anymore. It's like someone hit a switch, if there was a switch, and gravity's off. Even though it's a gradual thing, you just kind of feel like, whoop, all of a sudden I'm floating.
The experience of flight was just incredible. No other word for it. It's just you're sitting on the floor and then all of a sudden you're not. The coolest thing I've ever done in my life, for sure.
Like everybody's saying, like the weight taken off your shoulders. That's physically what was happening.
The experience of the flight was better than any roller coaster. I'm going to brag to all of my friends at Six Flags because I work there, and they're all coaster enthusiasts, so I can brag about this being the best coaster ever. The experiment went pretty well, probably as good as it could have with the time we're given. I think we got in every data set we needed. It looked a little bit different than it does on the ground just because of the sloshing of the fluid in zero gravity, but we definitely got solid data.
Great.
I'm Danielle Wyland. This is John Robinson. We're from Carthage College. We're using modal analysis to determine fluid volume in a tank. We'd like to thank Rudy Whirling, Carthage, and of course NASA for letting us fly 5 years in a row.